Just give it a few minutes. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. We thank you for joining us for Sisters Healing and Evolving's monthly She Healthy Woman episode, where we are talking about your health is your wealth. And this month, in honor of In Hunger Month, we are talking about food insecurity and nutrition. And of course, I have with me our health educator, Miss Phyllis Booz, the wonderful Phyllis Booz of My Heart's Desire Consulting LLC, where education, health and wellness and nutrition is her thing. She loves to educate and teach and to train us about eating healthy, living healthy, all of that. And we're excited to have Miss Phyllis Booz with us tonight. We're excited talking about the In Hunger Action Month and food insecurity and nutrition. It is something that we rarely talk about, but it is a growing epidemic in the United States, food insecurity, and not only in the United States and other countries as well. So we're talking about food insecurity and nutrition tonight. Phyllis, we thank you for joining us tonight. Just give us briefly tell us about what you do at MHD Consulting and remind us of who you are.
All right, awesome. Well, first of all, I am a child of the Most High God. I am gracious to be here. So glad to be here with you tonight, Chandrell. Thank you for just letting everybody know that, health and education is what I do. My heart's desire is positioned to equip, educate, and empower people in the area of health education and wellness. We also like to focus on individuals with chronic illnesses and limited mobility because we want to make sure that even though with chronic illnesses that it's still important to move our body, it's still important to focus on nutrition as a way for better health. We all know that medication is out there, but if we can learn how to support our body from a nutritional standpoint, we can go really far. So my heart's desire is just excited to continue to be a part of She to allow. I am the mother of a 34-year-old and a 13, almost 14-year-old grandson. So
Yeah.
I have to stay active. Be active. So I'm an EMT. I am a North Carolina State EMT, uh, mental health first aid instructor, CPR instructor. So again, as you see, the theme is anything related to health and education. That's what I do. My bachelor's is in health education and a master's in exercise science, nutrition, and wellness, which I am really, really enjoying just diving in and seeing how we can take this information to the community, to the people
Yes.
that really need this information, and that's my goal. My heart's desire is just not for me. The information is just not for me. I want to make sure that this information can get into the hands of individuals that have limited access to health education.
Yes. And that is awesome. That is what we do here at She Sisters Healing and Evolving. Our goal is to provide knowledge, access, and support to life transforming resources. And Phyllis and MHD has been a life transforming resource. It is a life transforming resource. So I'm excited to be able to work with you on a consistent basis and just glean from your knowledge and all of the love, because it's not just knowledge that you're sharing. You share it with such a passion for people and their general health, and it's genuine. So I'm excited about that. And so tonight we're talking about food insecurity, and we're talking about how it affects our health and nutrition. Over the weekend we had the opportunity to, I guess, not so much as kickoff, but to perform our second In Hunger initiative through our Grandma's Hand outreach program. And that program is an all inclusive outreach program that is focused on providing life transforming resources, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, whether it's hygiene items, whatever it is that someone, our neighbor in need, needs, we're through that program, we attempt to provide it. We are working diligently to be able to do that. And so our first initiative was with feeding our neighbors was at our back to school program in August, our back to school giveaway in August. And then on Saturday, we had the opportunity to go out into the community in Uptown Charlotte and feed our homeless community, our homeless neighbors there. And so it was very eye opening. And Phyllis and I was both there along with some our partner Judah of Judah Line of
Line.
Judah Outreach was there with us, and then some other members from She was there as well. And it was very eye opening to us, the need for us to be out in the community serving our neighbors. And with food insecurity, I'm gonna go ahead and share. Phyllis has prepared a wonderful PowerPoint for us, and I'm gonna go ahead and share that.
Hello, Miss Ann. I see her.
Hello, and hello, Facebook user that I'm not able to see your name, but if you share it, we'll definitely acknowledge you. We thank you for joining us tonight. As you come in, please comment, like, and share. Okay, share the screen. Okay. Okay. And I hope that everyone is able to see this beautiful PowerPoint that Phyllis has provided for us. Food insecurity and nutrition is prepared by Phyllis D. Booz, our health coach and health and wellness educator here at She, also the owner of My Heart's Desire Consulting. So we are going to go and look at what is nutrition. What is nutrition as we begin this conversation tonight? And Phyllis, you're more than welcome to jump in. I'm going to just start it off with just sharing basically, and you can jump in as I'm reading through your PowerPoint here. Nutrition involves the entire process of taking in and the utilization of food substances. And when we think about nutrition, I think, it's about what we eat, what we're getting from the foods that we're eating. Phyllis, can you elaborate on, nutrition and that general aspect of what I'm thinking it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you are actually right on target, but with the addition of nutrition involves, it says the entire process of taking in and the utilization of food. And so that means our movement of our body, that means what we're eating, expending energy, taking energy in, all of that. What we do for rest, I always say success happens from a position of rest. So when you are able to even rest, that's a part of nutrition. That's a part of your health, which is your wealth. And so it's not just food in and food out, but it's how the body is able to process all of those things to create the environment to have good nutrition.
Okay, awesome. Yes. Okay, so now we know that nutrition is vital to our
Mhm.
health. It's a key component along with exercise to our health. So when we have food insecurity, and food insecurity as defined by Feeding America is a lack of consistent access to enough food for an active healthy life.
Mhm.
It's we tend to think that it's the same as hunger, but according to Feeding America, it's not. Hunger is not the same concept as food insecurity. They're closely related, but hunger actually refers to a personal physical sensation of discomfort, whereas food insecurity refers to a lack of available
Mhm.
resources, financial resources to be able to provide the food that you need for your household level. So how does being food insecure affects our nutrition?
Well, when you think about having access, when you think about the individuals having access. So a balance, like in the slide says, a balanced and healthy diet can vary based on individual characteristics. So it's not just about the individual body, the food that you're eating, but your age, your gender, your lifestyle, the degree of physical activity you have, and then the culture context, which we are talking about now. What foods are available? Are the neighborhoods that we're living in? Do they have the foods, the fruits, the vegetables available? Are there farmers markets available in all neighborhoods? We say no. And so, basically nutrition connects with food insecurities in a way that when an individual becomes food insecure, that's one issue, but then it creates another issue, which means that individual is not going to be healthy. They tend to have poor mental and physical health.
Mm,
As we were out there on Saturday, we saw it all. We saw individuals who came up
yes.
and there were mental issues that we saw. We saw them, there were amputees, they were veterans, there were just a litany of people that, because of homelessness, because of their lack of nutrition, because of food insecurity, then that's going to set them up for continual poor health, lack of having access to medical care. And so when you think about nutrition, it becomes very broad.
Mm,
It becomes more a factor of who is this impacting, how is it impacting, and then we want to know what can we do about it.
yes, yes. Now you mentioned, the balanced and healthy diet varies based off of individual characteristics, age, gender, and lifestyle. That brings me to the question: well, who's at risk for food insecurity? Because we tend to think that, oh, they're working, they're two parent home, they're both working. You know,
Mm-hmm.
nutrition may not be an issue for them, but
Right.
who is really at risk for food
Yeah.
insecurity?
So you have individuals that are on the low income spectrum. You have people who have very high housing costs, because there's going to be a situation where, those that may have food insecurity might have to choose between, am I going to go grocery shopping or am I going to pay my rent? Okay.
Mm,
So instead of being able to take a certain amount of budget and go purchase fruits and vegetables and healthy foods, what do? We're going to go to the store, to the cheapest store available. We're going to go buy a pizza that, 10 pieces for $1 sale. Those are packaged processed foods, but what does it do? It
mhm.
feeds the family, my family of five, it will feed. But again, over the long run, we're going to be, I always say we're going to pay now or pay later. So in the
Yes,
long run, we are, anybody really, I mean, we all, in this economy right now, we all can be in jeopardy of, missing one paycheck and then be food insecure. We not having assets, having low income, the high rise of our rent here in the Charlotte area, rent has just doubled and tripled. And so that is going to cause an individual to have food insecurity, low wages, poverty, even, whether or not they have access to the government programs, they're cutting programs more and more and more. And so what you were available to have on SNAP, you may not have that available anymore. So those individuals are also at risk. Okay.
yes. Wow. And that says a lot, because when we don't really talk about who's food insecure. It's not something that's commonly spoke about in, let's just be honest, in our community.
Mm-hmm.
um we don't really talk about being food, you know being
Mm-hmm.
having food or living in a household that is food insecure.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, 22% of Black children live in a food insecure household in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
63% of all counties in the US that are rural are food insecure.
Mm-hmm.
These are, alarming statistics that tells us that, this is a growing problem.
Yeah.
And no one's really talking about it, not
Mm-hmm.
mainstream, where, it's affecting, or it's getting to the people who are being most affected by the food insecurity.
Right.
The numbers are alarming. It
Yeah.
says that in 2020, Black people were at 2.5
Mm-hmm.
times higher risk of hunger than whites and non-Hispanic individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And even more alarming is Native Americans living in rural communities experience some of the highest rates of food insecurity than
Yeah.
any other racial group. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that needs to be addressed overall.
Right.
Um, and as you said, poverty, it contributes to that.
Mm-hmm.
And we can look at the poverty rate in the Black community is higher than the average
Mm-hmm.
in the United States.
Right.
So we're looking at people who are working,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but they're still food insecure.
Right.
And when you think about the different aspects of it, social and economic,
Mm-hmm.
they're dealing with multiple disadvantages. As you
Right.
said, the rent is going up, and inflation is causing the food prices to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Gas is high,
Mm.
and then not to mention that because of poor health, poor nutrition, their health, they may have increase in medical bills.
Right.
So, when we're talking about this food insecurity, it goes much deeper than the surface than just what we're talking about. And you have some statistics here.
Mm-hmm.
You said it impacts 1 in 6 households, according
Yeah.
to the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Yeah.
Um, when someone's not able to afford or access the food required to maintain their health, we don't really look at that. For me, we think, oh, it's just homeless people.
Mm-mm.
For a long time, we used to think that was just homeless people who were food insecure,
Right.
or didn't have access to food. We didn't really use the word food insecure,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't have access to food. But it goes much deeper than that.
Exactly.
And I'm glad that we're having this conversation tonight, because it just sheds light on what is myth and what is fact.
Mm-hmm.
And once
Absolutely.
we start, yeah, once we start looking at the actual facts, then we can actually change it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you have here, in 2020, oh my goodness,
Mm-hmm.
287 people were in food insecure households.
Yeah. Yeah. And you think about, because it said food insecure. Food secure means that there's enough food for every person in that household to function and to do what they need to do. We all know that children get sent to school without eating. So, and then if you think of mom who's coming home and she prepares a food but maybe not have enough to feed herself but to feed her children. So
Mm,
being food secure actually means I have enough healthy food to be able to feed everyone in my home so that they can do what they need to do. My kids can go and work, go to school. I can function and go to work. So 38,200, excuse me, 38,287,000 people are food insecure households. So again, these are households. We're not even talking about the homeless. These
no, we're not.
that
And
are functioning in households. So it's a huge major problem.
yes, it is, because World Population Review.com stated that 66.7% of the homeless um, of the homeless population was single individuals, as where 33.3%
Mm,
were families. So
mhm,
we're looking at this 33.3% as families. This is children, mothers and children's and mothers, fathers and children's, and then we're talking about single individuals. This
mhm,
is these numbers is enough to cause us to say, well, what can we do?
mhm.
What should we do in
Yeah,
regards to food and nutrition insecurity?
yeah,
And it's something. And
yeah.
I like it here that you said hunger comes before homelessness.
Mhm,
Like you said, because like I said earlier, we tend to think that, only the homeless don't have access to food, when that is so untrue.
mhm. Exactly. Yeah. The cold and uncared for society gave that quote, and I thought it was so profound because yeah, we think about okay, of course, homeless people are going to be hungry, but
Hmm.
we don't think about the fact that what happened before that, the many months, the many years. As Jackie is saying here, that we were taught how to stretch a dollar, to be able to eat, and so we're in the generation now where we're not doing that as much. And when we talk about nutrition in a little bit, I'm kind of going to go over that because you know, the United States is one of the definite states of the countries that are definitely having its issues with hunger, but it's
Hmm.
not the top. It's not the top. U.S. and Sweden were not the top. Asia were one of the ones that were impacted the most. And so when you think about that, I'm like, okay, so even just the way, because I know you prepared like 50 sandwiches. We had, and then you prepared even more than that. But we what gave away maybe what 70, 80 or so.
98 to be exact. We gave away 98 bags, but some of them had two sandwiches in them. So
Yeah,
we gave away a total of
98
121 sandwiches.
exactly. So
And
so
that doesn't include the snacks and the
mhm.
items that went along with it in the waters.
Right.
Um,
And that was just in a small time frame of about maybe 2 hours. And so when you think about that, and I'm so grateful for the other individuals that came out, because you say, okay, well, what can we do? Well, that's one thing. I mean, it's very systemic. I mean, it's going to take many, many different avenues to approach this problem. Okay, many avenues. So that she is just doing that. She went out, and as a group, we went out and put our hands to the plow. Grandma's helping hands, and it was a blessing. And those of you that are not involved yet in She, please, please, please connect with Chandrell, because this is just one of the many outreaches that she is doing. And so we're going to do even more, because we want to be relevant in the community. We want to reach the community in various ways. We want to make sure that the information that we're able to get here online, the health tips and all that, well, guess what? There's a community of people who also need that information, that may not have internet, that may not be able to do that. So we really want to take our time to figure out how we can get this information in the hands, and how can it be even more affordable. We it really starts. I mean, when we think about what we can do, get involved with She, get involved with other organizations, put your hands to the plow. That's what you can do from a community standpoint. From a individual standpoint, because I am 100% believer, there are so many of us that are, I would say, food not so much insecure. We may have enough to eat, but we are vulnerable. We are food vulnerable. We are nutrition vulnerable. And to me, that starts with our choice. Okay,
mhm.
when an individual is homeless, they don't have the choice of what they can eat. They eat whatever is available. So it may be something that's not healthy. It may be something that's going to cause their cholesterol to go up. But what can we do? We can do better by just making simple choices. In one day, we can make 200 decisions about food. What are we going to eat? How much are we going to eat? When to eat? How should I prepare the food? We got options. We're very blessed in that we have options. Are we getting enough protein, fats, bad fats, good fats? We have so many options. A lot of us is on autopilot. We get up in the morning, we go to our favorite little breakfast place, we get our food, and we keep it moving. But we have a choice. And if we're going to be better so that we can make better other people, then we're going to have to make better choices. We're going to have to make sure that we're not nutritionally vulnerable ourselves. Okay, so you have people
Wow.
that are insecure, food insecure, but I believe we are food vulnerable. So you can go to the next slide.
But just before we go there, I
Mm-hmm.
like that you said that we're food vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't think, we don't really take the time to assess our own situations.
Mm-hmm.
And in this picture, you got the gummy slices, the burgers, the fries, the popcorn, the pizza, those things that are readily available, what we
Mm-hmm.
consider to be fast food. And sometimes, that's the go-to option
Mm-hmm.
versus the healthy stuff on the other side, the fruits, the
Yeah.
vegetables, the dairy products,
Mm-hmm.
the nuts. And so yeah, just being honest with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and assessing our own households, and the decisions. You said 200 decisions about food in a day. That's a lot. And for most of us, like you said, we're on autopilot and we're just
Mm-hmm.
choosing the incorrect options.
Yeah, and a lot of things are happening. We're choosing based on what responsibilities we have, how much time we
Mhm.
have. But the thing is if we keep choosing unhealthy foods, we're already the decisions is already made about how healthy we're going to be, how vulnerable we're going to be, and then we're not going to be able to allow God to use us in our maximum capacity. So it's all about making that decision. It's all about learning. This is a picture called Build a Heart Healthy Plate. And so now the plate has changed. In the past, our plates are, right now our plates are huge. And when they're huge, they literally look like if you get a plate of spaghetti, you can literally feed maybe three people with just one plate of spaghetti. So now your plate should look like half of your plate should be nothing but vegetables. Nothing but vegetables. Then one fourth of it is going to be your meat, and then that should just be really like the palm of your hand, if you even eat that at all. And then you can have your starchy food. So we really have to change what we're doing. And, we always have to think, how can I translate this to individuals that are, food insecure? Well, in the education process, it's going to take some hard work, because again, to convince someone that it is economic. Someone asked me in a class the other day. I was sharing with them my grocery list for a week, and I even bought samples of everything I purchased. And they said, "Well, yeah, some of these foods here are expensive. First of all foods right now are very expensive." But they
That's
said,
true.
how can you justify purchasing these foods?" And I said, it's a very good question, because yes, I did have to make a choice. So I told him that, I said, this, my justification is the fact that I haven't had to see an emergency room in about 2.5 to 3 years, period.
Wow.
My weight loss has been consistent all year this year. Everything that I'm doing for my health has come from a choice and a decision. So I'm either going to pay in my healthcare, going to doctors, or I'm going to take some of that money, rebudget. It takes some time. It takes some, finagling. How am I going to buy? Because, I may have to buy, instead of buying the bread that's, well, we used to be able to buy bread for $1.99, but buying the least expensive bread to now buying a
Mhm.
bread that's specific to what I need and my body needs. Well, that bread could cost $5. How do you justify that? So I said,
Exactly.
I justify it because I'm not eating. I limit what I eat out. Do I have my days? Absolutely. But I limit when I eat out. I limit the junk food and the sugar and all of those things. And then I take that and I rebudget it and repurpose it. It takes some work, but it is possible to do. You begin
Yeah.
to learn how to make, like Jackie was saying, you begin to learn how to make stuff stretch. We need to go back to some of them crock pot meals and being able, and even sharing. If you go to the store and you buy a big old bag of beans, let's stretch that. I remember in Maryland, I had some friends, and we all had children, and we would get together on Sunday after church. One person bought the bread, the other person bought the peanut butter, the other person bought the jelly. Guess what? Everybody ate.
Right.
Everybody ate. So we still got to get back into this community thing where,
Yes.
we don't share our food anymore. We're so possessive. So we got to get back. Hey, if you have a chicken and I got a salad, that's a meal for two families. We can bring it together. So that is very important.
And Vicky McBrayer of Line of Judah Outreach, she said that on Saturday. She's like, it's not about us as individuals.
Hmm.
It's about what we can do collectively.
Right.
Um, and she was saying, well, if you have the meat and I have the bread, then hey, that's something that we can feed the people.
Hmm.
And so it was just a great collaboration to be able to work with her in a partnership, to work with her and for her to
Hmm.
have that mindset, hey, what we bring together is going to create a greater impact than what we bring individually.
Exactly.
And so when we're looking at, talking about hunger and food insecurity and our neighbors, what can we do collectively? We are educating,
Hmm.
we are providing, giving access. Like you said, some of these items are not available to, especially when you're homeless, you without shelter. But
Hmm.
what can we bring to them
Right.
as a community to help combat this malnutrition or lack of
Hmm.
nutrition and this food
Right.
insecurity?
Right. Yeah.
And one, it's knowledge.
Yeah.
Starts there: knowledge,
Yeah.
access, support.
Yeah.
um, that's what we need to be focusing on. And
Hmm.
as a community, as you said, one, get back to community where it's like the Good Samaritan. We don't want to walk past and see our brother on the ground and don't stop and help.
Hmm.
um you know whatever you have, it may not seem significant to you, but it can make a great difference to someone who's in need. And
Yeah.
I think that's, the mindset that we have to get back to,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to being true community.
Yeah, because I mean, Jesus said, if you feed me, then if you feed the homeless, if you feed those that are hungry, then you feed me. If you put your hands to consider those that are least of these, then you are feeding me. You are doing exactly what I need you to do. And so when you talk about education, this thing has to take different stages because when you're just trying to feed a need and meet a need, yeah, just like some of the homeless people we met on Saturday, some of them looked at the like we had nuts there. Some looked at the nuts and was like, no, I don't want that. I would say 90% of them loved it. The nuts were a big hit. But
Yes.
some of the foods that are good for you, it's going to be a slow thing because see, they may not be interested in eating some of the things that we know are healthy, but it's a process. We start kind of changing things and then educating those that do have the ability to get the education, get the information, we can begin to introduce some things. Um, of course, it's going to be hard for them to maintain. We need more people out there, like she and Grandma's hands, helping hands to be out there, giving them like they love the nuts. The nuts were, and of course, they love the honey buns too, but they love the nuts as well.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and as you see with this, this is taken from a Mediterranean eating profile. And my big thing is it doesn't really matter where you start, whether you do Mediterranean, paleo, whatever. Basically, you have to find what works for you, okay? What works for your body. This is just one that I've been studying most. And this one is Mediterranean diet has been noted to be more heart healthy. And so this graph right here on the bottom, as you see, the foundation is uh,
Extra.
community, it's moving, it's activity. That's the foundation. And then you go up to your breads and your vegetables and your whole grains. And then you go up to your fish and seafood. And so this is a pattern that can be used, and you can take plus and minus it, but this is a pattern that has been proven for heart health. So this is taken from Mediterranean. This is really good information, and so I hope more people kind of read up on it.
Yes, yes. And it just shows you, different what we need. So, and then you have here some of the benefits of eating Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
Lower the risk of cardiovascular disease by
Mm-hmm.
30%, chronic
Yeah.
illness reduction, depression, Parkinson, cancers,
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's disease. And, just like you said, out there, we saw firsthand, some of the people that we encountered and helped and talked to on Saturday, they were dealing with some of these issues.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just one particular person, it was a
Mm-hmm.
variety of people. It was seniors, it was youth,
Mm-hmm.
it was veterans, it was a variety of people. If you said eating style related to highest life expectancy,
Mm-hmm.
just the small changes, as you said, can to help
Mm-hmm.
change your life drastically.
Yeah.
um it's just the choices. And I
Yeah.
think that we have to be reminded continually that every choice has a consequence,
Mm-hmm.
whether
Exactly.
it's a positive one or a negative one. It has a consequence or a
Mm-hmm.
reaction.
Yeah.
And I think when we are, whether it's the hunger before the homelessness, or if we're working with the homeless and we're working with maybe just food insecure homes where you have people who are working, we need to be mindful that choices that we make
Mm-hmm.
um, has a reaction or impact, whether it's positive or negative.
They do, and many people, if they don't know, you don't know. Take for instance sugar. When you eat a lot of sugar, because that's going to add to your inflammation, and sugar is going to react in your brain the very same way as a drug can. And so, if you don't know, you don't know. You just know that I like sugar. I'm addicted. Many people say I'm addicted to sugar. Yet you are. You really are. And so it's just getting that knowledge into the hands, even if it's a person makes one change, it's worth it. Like I said, this particular style It's mainly going back to the original way of eating. I think someone said recently that when they went to Greece and they had a Greek salad, the salad actually didn't contain lettuce. And so I found that very interesting because if we do go back to the original ways that we prepared food, then it's going to be a lot more healthier for us. If we use the fruits and vegetables from the land, it's going to be a lot more healthier. It's because we're getting into a super fast processed food regimen, supersize, everything has to be bigger, bigger, and bigger. That is causing us our health challenges, and so it's tough. Getting out of the habit. And I think, like Ann said, yeah, when you have to prepare meals that will heal your body, and there are foods that can heal your body. There are foods that are going to strengthen your systems, okay, your respiratory system, your digestive system,
Yes.
your nervous system. There are foods out there that is designed exactly. And then there are foods that you can also stay away from. When you think about talking to a person who, let's just say, maybe on blood thinners, right? They're on blood thinners. And, we want to get them on a healthy eating pattern. And so if you tell them, oh, yeah, go ahead and just add some salad. Well, the increase of vitamin K alone is going to counteract what their blood thinner is going to do. They get a cut, they get in an accident, they're going to bleed out. You cannot tell that person who
Wow.
is on Coumadin to eat more lettuce, eat more vitamin K, eat more leafy vegetables. It's all about educating and knowing. And sometimes when you don't know, you just don't know. When we're dealing with gout, well, maybe you might want to eliminate tuna fish. Okay, that
Wow.
that could be a reason. Okay, everybody is different. Everybody's bodies responds differently. So when you're talking about, although I said the Mediterranean, my focus is make sure whatever you're eating is what your body wants and what your body needs. Doesn't matter if it's called Mediterranean or whoever, you have to eat according to what your body can process and utilize. Remember, nutrition is about the process of utilizing the food that we're eating, taken in properly. And it can be different for everybody. Okay, so not one nutrition is not one size fits all. You can work with dietitians and nutritionists, read yourself. It goes on and on and on. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that though, because we do tend to, when we're looking at, nutrition, and we tend to follow these fads, these
Mhm,
diets, these quote unquote healthy lifestyle changes.
mhm.
And they're, most of the time they're cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And so it's very important that you said, know your body,
Hmm.
because every fad, every diet is not for you.
And
Um,
every vitamin is not for
not for
you
you.
too.
Yeah.
And that's another thing because people are like, well, okay, I'm gonna go the fast route. Fast route. There's no way I can get as many fruits and vegetables in, so I'm gonna go the fast route. Take some vitamins and things like that and supplements. Not that they're all bad, but one, you've really got to make sure that the manufacturer that you're using has pure products in it. A lot of times there's a lot of fillers. A lot of times there are things in there that are not good for you. Sometimes there's so much of a thing in there to kind of make it boost up for you that it's not good for your body. You can also have you can get toxicity from vitamins. If the
Wow.
vitamin level is too high, then that's going to cause some problems. You're taking a, maybe, let's say, a vitamin A supplement, and what if the levels? Always read the bottle and see how much is the recommended dose and how much is actually in that bottle. So you may be taking too much of a good thing. So taking vitamins. So the 100% best way to get your vitamins is through your foods, through your fruits and vegetables, all of those things. So eat your vitamins. Now, like I said, you can supplement, but be wise about supplementations. When there's these claims that this is going to burn faster and make you do this, you really want to be mindful. Read the ingredients, read the labels, research what some of those ingredients are.
And that takes us right into portion size.
Hmm.
Because if you're, say, you just, oh, I'm gonna go off of meat and I'm just gonna eat fruits and vegetables
Hmm.
all the time.
Yeah.
Well, what if your body doesn't need that. Um,
Absolutely.
portion size is something that we really need to address.
Mm-hmm.
I know I had to address it in my own home because it was like when my husband had to change to a renal diet, his
Mm-hmm.
portion sizes had to change,
Yeah.
and things that he ate had to change. And so his plate looked different.
Yeah.
And so he had to really adjust to that. And I had to adjust to it, which it was
Mm-hmm.
an easier adjustment for me.
Yeah.
But for him, it really was something that he had to work with.
Yeah.
And I think that we don't really take the time to look at, what
Mhm.
does our body need? How much of something does our body really
Right.
need?
Right. Yeah, because you may not need every morning bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. That may not be what your body needs. Your body may say in the morning, I'm going to have me a cup of spinach, or I'm going to have me some broccoli with my eggs. So again, just because it says it's a breakfast meal doesn't mean you have to eat breakfast food at breakfast. You may bring in a piece of salmon and some broccoli. That's a wonderful breakfast. So just got to get out of the mode of what we're used to doing because we're set in our ways based on culture, based on all the 200 ways we can make decisions about what we eat. When I wake up, the first thing I crave is a carb. I want a donut. I want a pancake. I want some bacon. Okay. But we have to change the way my mind thinks. I need to think about, okay, what's going to fuel my body? I'm going to need some protein. Okay, so that's the first thing that I put in my body. First, it helps my brain, helps my body starts to process. So in the morning, I may eat a piece of fish. I may eat some salmon, or I may have a handful of walnuts. So my breakfast might look a little different because I'm eating based off of what my body really needs.
Wow, and that
Yeah.
that's very important. And it
Yes.
goes back, come off of autopilot. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Come
because
up
you
with
said,
autopilot.
yep, come off of autopilot.
Yeah.
So I'm just, it's you
Uh,
hear a simple approach. Number one, focus on
woo-hoo.
variety, nutrition dense foods, and the size. No supersizing. Hey, supersizing was it with the fries.
That's right.
Limit
Mhm.
calories from added sugars and saturated fats. Reduce sodium. So these are
Yeah.
simple approaches you're sharing here that
Mhm.
can make a difference.
Yes.
You know, especially for those of us who have a choice. Those of
Right.
us, who are food vulnerable
Yeah.
versus food insecure.
Yes.
And
Amen.
we just want to make sure that we're making this clear because it's not just for us to get on here and talk about food insecurity, but
Mhm.
how do we change that?
Mhm.
And we change that with action, action
Mhm.
in education, action in giving access, action in giving support.
Right.
And so, like it says, it's in hunger action month,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
awareness, but action.
Mhm.
And
Action. Right.
so we have to, take simple approaches. And she has one here that your sodium, reduce your
Yeah.
sugars,
Yeah.
reduce the saturated fats. I listen. I'm big on that sodium. Um,
Yeah.
I recently well, not recently, it's been probably over a year now. We stopped buying frozen foods
Mhm.
and canned items because they have to preserve them. And
Yes.
so, and typically they have a lot of sodium. And
Mhm.
once my husband, his health needs, we had to look at that. And I'm always conscious about it because high blood pressure runs in my family,
Mhm.
diabetes runs in
Yeah.
my family, kidney failure runs in
Mhm.
my family.
Mhm.
And so these are things that we need to be mindful of, taking simple approaches
Yeah.
to to combat these things. So
Mhm.
this is something here that you're sharing where we put less salt on your food. We
Yeah.
don't be heavy-handed with that salt bottle, with that salt shaker.
Put the salt shaker down.
Yeah, put it down.
Yeah. So
They
this
always
is
laugh at me because I always tell them, hey, put that salt shaker down.
yeah.
And
So
especially my family members, they be like, you the salt police? And I'm like, yeah, I
exactly.
might have to be,
Exactly. Yeah, someone recently said, I stopped using salt and I actually tasted the food. It's like, yeah, the actual meat, you actually taste the flavor of the meat. And unfortunately, with African Americans, we are more susceptible to high blood pressure. So our average diet contains 3,400 milligrams of salt a
Oh,
day.
Lord.
And so 2300 is what a healthy person is recommended that a healthy person has. But someone with high blood pressure, black, over 50, you're looking at 1,500 and lower. Like I target even lower. So that's something. This is, you think about, being food, decreasing the ability of being food vulnerable. It doesn't take a lot. Don't listen to so many things on TV that has you doing so many things and buying so many things. If you just start doing this week to week, take one of these approaches every week and focus on, okay, I'm going to minimize my salt intake. Okay, get one of those trackers and put your food in the thing and put in the tracker and see how much salt that you really are eating and bring that down. I guarantee you it's going to change your life. Just minimizing the salt. So many things can be self-corrected. And with that, you talk about, the kidney issues. Be an advocate for yourself and make sure you're reading your lab results. When you get those lab results from a doctor, don't just have your eyes glazed over. Look at every single number. They mean something. And if your, kidney functions are not are high, look at your creatinine levels. Look at those kidneys function levels. Look at all those numbers and look them up. Call me, let me know. I'll sit down with you and we'll go over every single number and know that, okay, because see, the thing is, your doctor's going to look at it, and even though your number is increasing just a little, if it doesn't hit that mark where they're concerned, then they're like, "Oh, you're fine. You're within normal range." That's a problem. Okay, be an advocate for your own body, your own health. If you
Yes.
see if you see your numbers going up, that's when you say, "Doc, why are my numbers going up? What's going on? We need to take this test or that test or this test." You be an advocate for yourself. And there are many exams and tests that my doctor wasn't even thinking about until I said, "Oh, I'm looking at my number. You can't explain it. So I think we need to order this test." And because I have a great doctor who listens to me, she said, "You know what? You're right. Let's go ahead and do that." So, no, I don't wait for them to tell me you're in the danger zone. I'm looking at every time I go to the doctor and have my labs done, I'm looking at every single number to see what my body is doing. God created this body. God created
Yes.
this body. So let's not ignore it. It's telling us exactly what we need to know. But we love salt. We love cakes and we love all those things. So here's
Mm.
a simple approach. Number two, when we want to make small changes, it doesn't have to be big again. Remember, take one of these approaches a week. If you choose differently, just make a different choice in sandwiches where it's the bread, where it's the type of meat you're eating. Look at all the salt that is in this one sandwich, okay? 1,522 milligrams of salt. But if you just make a small change, reading the ingredients and comparing the intake of this, then you are going to change. You are going to cut your salt in half, if not more. I am 100% am an advocate of reading labels. It is important. And I think the next slide is going to talk about that. If you could show that.
Yep.
And so, with reading the labels, I don't know if everybody can kind of see it, but this is a comparison. And I purposely didn't put the what product this was, but if you can see it, I'm gonna look at my other screen because so I can see it because my eyeballs can't see on there. But if you look at the fat, one has 18 grams. So this is the same type of food, but one has 18 grams of fat. The other one has 11. One has 80 milligrams of cholesterol, the other has 30. One has 750 milligrams of salt, the other has 910. And one has 41 grams of carbs, and the other one, if I can see it, has 51 grams of carbs. So when you're
Wow.
making choices in the grocery store, compare your food labels, look at the label. Making those small choices is great because when you buy it and it's already low in the things and it's in your freezer, you know it's safe. Okay, so these things are important. And like Chandra said, when you're buying frozen foods, processed foods, that's is what that's going to be a problem when we buy processed food. When you go to the grocery store, if you can shop on the perimeter of the store, the majority of your grocery shopping is on the perimeter. That's where all of your fresh products are. That's a safer way to shop. When you shop in the middle and you get all the box stuff, you're going to get hydrogenated oil. Hydrogenated oil is not good for you. Okay, cause
Yeah.
many different complications. When I first got into health way back in my 20s, and I remember our pastor's wife used to say, "Stop eating hydrogenated oil." And when she said that, it made sense because most processed food has hydrogenated oil. And I just eliminated that. And I did that for years before I graduated to other things. But that could literally make sure that you are not having your arteries clogged up. Approach
Wow.
approach number 6, meal plan. Okay, plan. Take some time, maybe on a Sunday or on a Saturday. Sit down, and this is actually my meals. This is my table with my food laid out for 7 days. Had my boiled eggs. I'm now allergic to eggs, so I can't eat eggs anymore. But this is when I was able to eat eggs. But I would prepare, and I would get maybe three different meats, cook those, and get my vegetables, and then I also planned a vegetarian meal in there. So one of those meals is nothing but vegetables. So plan in advance. Make a menu based off of what you feel that you can eat, and don't eat the same thing for 5 days. You're gonna get bored. Definitely
That's
switch it
right.
up a little bit. So definitely do that. Have your staples around. Definitely plan even your snacks, because you'll end up not going to the store to get some snacks or the vending machine to get your snacks. Also plan your snacks. It's very important to do all of those things. And then your water, making sure you're getting a lot of water. So this is just ways that you can take small steps to become less food vulnerable. Also, budget. Simple approach number 7, budget. This is an actual receipt. One receipt I have is where I purchased a meal at a fast food, and it was $14 and some cents for one meal. One meal versus me going to the store and buying some of these things. And I think the total ended up being $22 or $27. So I spent $27, and I was able to feed myself throughout the week for maybe, I think that ended up being about maybe 4 meals or so. So 4 or 5 meals, I think, almost close to a week. So if you do it right and you keep some of those staples with you, then you can budget. So when we say we can't afford it, we can't afford to eat healthy, I say, but are you willing to learn how? Are you willing to learn how to do it? Because that $14 meal, I guarantee you, increased my salt intake. I guarantee you it caused me some inflammation. It was good. It was absolutely wonderful. I enjoyed it to the fullest. But my $14 didn't have anything to show for me except for some inflammation, probably a little bit of gas, and guess what? I didn't have food for the next day. So I still had to go out and buy more food.
Wow.
So we got to compare. So I think we can. And I think we got a comment if you want to read the next comment from Miss Crystal.
Let me
And
stop sharing here and exit the slide.
and while you're doing that, we can actually take the money that we're saving, and then we can do more to help the homeless and provide a meal on your way to work. Prepare an extra meal in a disposable thing and give it to the homeless and say, hey, it's a nice home fresh meal, home cooked meal. So you have extra, share.
Okay, and Crystal Robinson, and I do apologize because as I was sharing, I wasn't able to show comments, but we do have your comments here, and we do appreciate all of your comments. Crystal Robinson says, I had a doctor tell her years ago that African Americans are salt sensitive people. Therefore, we have to pay attention to the labels. I get it though with the desserts. People resort to buying packaged processed foods. Yes, we do.
Mhm.
So my question would be, how do people with fixed incomes get around that?
Yeah,
Um, and I
well,
think um, I'll let you take that, but I think it. it goes back to, the food insecurity and the circumstances, and getting the help that we need, and then doing the simple approaches, um, you know, budgeting, the
Mhm.
scratching the dollar, as Jackie said earlier.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
and I know it can be difficult, and that's where community comes in.
Yeah.
I,
Absolutely.
one reason our outreach program is called Grandma's Hands is because of my grandmothers.
Mhm.
It was where if someone in the community had a need, I grew up in a close knit community where
Mhm.
people actually was concerned about one another's welfare, whether
Mhm.
they had food to eat. And especially on my mother's side, I mean, for years, they fed their community.
Yeah.
And I could remember people, my grandmother then buying those big sacks of rice and giving it to,
Mhm.
hey, come with the brown paper bag and you take enough
Yeah.
rice home to cook for a week or two,
Yeah.
for your family. They may have rice and this other person may have peas that they grew in their
Mhm.
garden and they bought them.
Mhm.
And that's why it's important that we, as a community, get back to being a community.
Yeah.
Because there is, like a person with a fixed income, it is difficult for them to be able to make some of these simple approaches, just
Mhm.
because it's either, am I buying my medicine, especially for our seniors, or am I buying my medicine?
Mhm.
Am I paying rent? Am I putting gas in the car to get to the job so I can have enough money to pay
Mhm.
the rent and the light
Mhm.
bill and just get enough, frozen foods or canned foods to
Mhm.
have to eat on for the next week?
Right.
Um, so
Yeah.
it is, difficult, but what I would say is to reach out. Um, reach out to us, Sisters Healing and Evolving. We partner with an organization that can help to provide emergency food.
Mhm.
um, Go to your local DSS, Department of Health and Human Services, see
Mhm.
what programs are available in
Mhm.
that situation. And I know sometimes it's difficult to get, when you're working and you're considered to be working and
Mhm.
making too much money, which is not enough
Mhm.
money to provide the basic needs. Uh,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
reach out, reach
Yeah.
out to get the resources. I always say, ask for help. Help is healing, evolving, love, and provision. That's
Mhm.
what I have termed and coined it as. It's
Mhm.
healing, evolving, love, and provision. And when we don't say anything, when our mouths are closed, because of stigmas, then we don't get the necessary help that we need. It may
Mhm.
be that, someone can provide some provision for you, for that person, or for you during a time where, it's needed most. And then when it's their turn, you can do the same. This is why it's important to know people in your support system.
Mhm.
Um, a support system is there for many reasons. And this, even though it's not talked about in our community often, it's something that's needed.
Yeah.
If you are, hey, if you are my friend and you don't have enough to eat, I don't want you to just walk around and not say something. Say something. Say,
Mhm.
hey girl, I don't have enough to eat today.
Mhm.
To get to feed my kids today, or whatever the case is. It may be my turn the next week. You
Mhm.
never know, and you may be able to spare a few dollars to help someone else. But if we don't say anything, then the help that's needed to transform or change the situation, improve the situation, can't be administered.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's what I would have to say, is to reach out, to make contact, make it known. Do not, I think, and Phyllis has said this before, don't suffer in silence.
Mhm.
Do
Yeah.
not suffer in silence.
Yeah.
Make your needs known.
Yeah.
We really have to get away from this negative connotation about getting help.
Yeah.
Um, we really do, because it causes so many of us to miss the things that we need. It causes so many of us to suffer lack,
Yeah.
when we don't have to.
Yeah.
But I would say reach out, and let us see if we can help you, because it may be something that that you haven't thought about, or that person haven't thought about, that can be changed,
Yeah.
or just even done differently to help combat that. where you are able to say, hey, you might be able to buy more fresh vegetables. Instead of buying them from the chain store, going to the local food farmers market. You may
Mhm.
be able to get some fresh vegetables there, more affordable. Just knowing the different resources that's available and
Mhm.
where to go and where to access them is very important.
Mhm.
So, what would you like to add on that?
I would say it also just be savvy with, we got to be financially savvy by knowing where our deals are. There are things like I will go to a grocery store, one of the local grocery stores that normally has high prices, but I don't buy any foods in there that's their prices. I always shop their BOGOs. Their BOGOs are truly BOGOs where if I only want one, it's half price.
Yes.
There was one situation where I had some sausages that I buy. They're plant-based sausages, and they were in one store, and they were almost $5. And I was appalled. I was like, wow. But I went to the healthy store, and it was $2 less. So it's about planning. It's about do now what you know now to do. If you're not able to kind of rearrange your budget, like I said, Chandrell said, reach out to us. This is what I do all day long. I teach people. I'm a health coach. I listen to what you're going through, and I help to strategize. So reach out to us. Gardens, absolutely. People are
Yes,
doing their
Crystal.
own gardens, so do that. It's about education. It's about like if you have canned vegetables and that's what you have and that's what you can afford, then when you open it, rinse them. Get some of the salt off of them. So there are so many ways that, but when we try to do it by ourselves, we're going to be limited. So connect with us. Connect with others that are doing. If you work for a company by chance and they have programs like where they have nutritional dietitians and things like that, reach out, because there are ways that you can, because I shop on a budget. 100%. I shop on a budget, and I have learned to put some things away and don't that's not going to be my thing because I know I need certain foods to be healthy. So it's something that we can do.
Yes, and Crystal, hopefully we can, as community leaders, educators, and concerned neighbors, get back to encouraging people to grow their own gardens and to
Mm-hmm.
utilize other helpful resources and information because that's what it's about. That's what community is.
Mm-hmm.
It's supporting one another. We have to, I think for me, one of the biggest deceptions is that we were created to do things on our own.
Mm-hmm.
It's damaging to
Mm-hmm.
us. And I know we're running a little overtime and we're getting ready to get off here tonight and give you back your night. But I just wanted to say the deception that we were created to do things on our own
Mm-hmm.
is very damaging to us as a community. It's very damaging because, in fact, the word of God tells us that we are the joints that supply.
Yes.
That means someone is supplying you and someone is supplying me and I'm supplying someone. So we're the joint. And I believe that if we take that mindset and foster that and exercise it, that, hey, I'm a joint. That means when I'm in need, it's okay for me to reach out. When someone's in need, it's okay for them to reach out. I think that some of these issues that we have um, can be combated. Can it be completely eliminated? It may be with time
Mm-hmm.
and more effort, but I think the first step into eliminating this food insecurity, eliminating hunger, is to change our mindsets about who we are, what we can do, and what impact that we can create.
Amen.
Um, this has been a very good conversation. It has been a great conversation. Your PowerPoint provided a lot of information, Phyllis, and I'm excited about it. I'm grateful. And I'm just glad to be able to have these conversations
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much that we as a community, especially as a Black community, do not discuss.
Mm-hmm.
And it's causing us to suffer.
Yes.
And so, one of our goals is Sisters Healing Evolving is to eliminate the stigmas.
Yes.
Eliminate the stigmas through this program. She's Healthy Woman. We are eliminating stigma. We're starting conversations. We're having these conversations that we don't normally have. And we're bringing light to the resources, the issues that we have, and the resources on how to resolve them, how to help ourselves. So I'm excited about that. Um, I'm just grateful for Phyllis and all of her PowerPoint, her information, for her being with us tonight. I'm grateful for each and every one of you who watched tonight, and those who will watch the replay. I'm grateful for the comments. If you have any information, please reach out, share. If there's a topic that you would like for us to discuss that's not normally discussed in our communities, then feel free to send a message to us at contact@sistersheal.org. We'll be happy to take a look at that topic, and see what we can do to find out that information. We want to make sure that we're providing knowledge, access, and support that transforms our lives. Phyllis, do you have any closing remarks?
Just I'm just so grateful for everyone's comments. Just thank the Lord for us sharing and being able to connect. I love the fact that what was really articulated was community, and that is going to be one of the things that we should focus on even more. You know, what is that community? What's your support system? If you don't have a support system, just know you should have a support system, and let us be that support system for you, because it is through doing things together that we no one will suffer lack. We have to learn to put our pride down and also say, hey, I don't know what I don't know, and I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn, and I'm also willing to do the work. If you need accountability partner, let us know. We can help keep accountable. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you, Chandrell, for this topic. Thank you for the opportunity for sharing on Saturday, even as we had an opportunity to outreach together, and I can't wait for more things to come.
Amen. Thank you so much. Now, if Sisters Healing and Evolving has helped you in any way and you feel like you want to get involved, you can always donate your time, donate your skills, and you can also donate to us through monetary giving as well. And you can do that. It's on the screen at Sisters Heal INC. That is our Cash App. You can donate there. And we also have a link on givebutter.com that you're able to donate to as well. So if it's just remember to set your alarm so you can be a part of the conversations every fourth Monday of the month. We're getting ready to do some new things. We're ramping up our activities. We want to make sure that we're in the community, we're sharing, we are providing knowledge, access, and support, and we are being the support system that you need. So we thank you for your time tonight. As always, it's a pleasure to be able to serve and to provide that knowledge, access, and support that transforms our lives. Everyone
Awesome.
have a wonderful evening.
Right. I love Crystal's last comment. She stumbled on this accidentally.
Oh,
Accident.
oh, okay.
Right.
Well, we're glad that you stumbled on it accidentally, Crystal, and we are excited to have you with us tonight. So please set your alarm so that you can come back and visit us when we have our next, or you can come out if you're in the Charlotte area or even in South Carolina, because we're going to be doing some things in South Carolina coming up soon. Let us know, be a part of come out, volunteer, get in contact with us at contact@sistersheal.org, and we will love for you to be a part of what we're doing.
Amen.
Have a great night.
Good night.